10 seconds. Good evening. My name is Bill Murphy, Public Information Officer for the Thomas Fire. Thank you for watching this evening. This is our evening update for December 13th. Before we provide our operational update this evening, I'd like to introduce three people to the podium to make a few statements about the cooperative effort to date. I'd like to introduce from CAL FIRE Director Ken Pimlott, from the United States Forest, the Director of Fire and Aviation Management for the Pacific Southwest region, Bob Baird, and from the Ventura County Fire Department, Chief Mark Lorenzen.
Hi, good evening. Again, Ken Pimlott, Director, CAL FIRE. And it's been over a week now that this Southern California fire siege began, which ultimately 6 large fires across Southern California. As we get deep into the second week, significant progress has been made across all of these fires, and we're certainly pleased with that progress. This has been a significant, long, protracted Santa Ana wind event that continues to persist with significantly dry air and erratic winds that continues, obviously, to provide challenges to firefighters as we focus now on the Thomas Fire in both Ventura and Santa Barbara County. This has been an incredible cooperative effort, as you'll hear from everyone here across the board. On this fire alone, we have over 360 fire agencies participating in the firefight, over 7,900 firefighters, 800 fire engines, and not just California resources, but 10 different states across the West have provided resources to support this effort. But our eye is on the ball not only for this fire, but as we continue to see critical fire weather conditions predicted for the rest of December. So we are not only providing resources here for this fire, but we will continue to engage and manage resources across California to ensure resources are in place to attack those new fires that can occur across the state, and particularly here in the Southland throughout this weather event. So we are ready. We continue to prepare and engage, and we'll continue to do that throughout this entire wind event. So with that, I'd like to introduce Chief Bob Baird.
Hi, good evening. My name is Robert Baird. I'm the Director of Fire and Aviation Management for the United States Forest Service, the Pacific Southwest region, which is California and the Pacific Islands. I'm here from Vallejo today with Chief Pimlott, and we've been reviewing all the activities to date, and we're very impressed in the cooperation, the diligence, and the great effort of the firefighters out there on the ground. As a former resident of Central Coast, my heart goes out to those members of the public that have lost their homes, and so it's good to begin to see the repopulation occurring and the team's support to that. This is December. Shouldn't be lost on anyone. This is a new normal as far as weather and fire weather and the threat to both the public and the natural resources we have. And so the Forest Service is continuing to engage as it's threatening water sources that are up on the national forests, as well as helping protect the public in the areas of both Ventura and into Santa Barbara. We have over 119 crews presently collectively with all our organizations on this fire, which is a great deal of resources to help get containment around this. And we've continued to reach out across the United States. I've talked both to Washington office today multiple times, updating them, as well as drawing in specialists from the federal fire agencies all the way out to Atlanta today. I spoke to them about drawing resources in. And so we're engaging the larger fire family across the United States and making sure that we can bring in what we need to be successful here. We're standing together, committed. We're standing here and making sure that in the long term we can address the threat to Santa Barbara and make sure that we can help the public. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mark Lorenzen. I'm the Fire Chief of the Ventura County Fire Department, and it is truly amazing what we can do in the face of adversity, especially when we drop our boundaries and borders and cooperate together. And what we saw over the course of 8 days is truly amazing. My 600-member fire department grew to over 8,000, and we can't do it without the cooperation and collaboration that these men behind me referred to. And it's through our local government agencies, through the statewide master mutual aid system, through California Office of Emergency Services, and agreements that we have made with other states, our partnership with the U.S. Forest Service, and with CAL FIRE also. So it truly does take a village to deal with emergencies on this scale, and we recognize quickly that we cannot do it on our own. So I would just like to express my appreciation to everybody out there. For just about all of you that are watching, you've all sent your communities firefighters to help us here, and that's what we do in turn when you guys have emergencies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief. Operations Section Chief Mark Brown will now provide an operational update on the fire.
Good evening. We've had a very busy day and very productive day today. It started off with lifting some evacuation warnings and orders in southeast Santa Barbara, and we also were successful in our suppression activities above Fillmore, and as of tomorrow morning at 0800 we will be lifting evacuations in unincorporated areas surrounding Fillmore. Specifically in the Santa Barbara front country, we've had better air in the area. We were able to fly fixed-wing and rotor-wing aircraft into the Santa Barbara front country. We also established a mobile retardant plant on that side of the fire, and the helicopters that were flying to that area were dropping retardant, not just water. We recently had a community meeting in the community of Santa Barbara describing our strategy that Incident Command Team is doing. And if we are doing our job properly as an Incident Command system, we're thinking strategically, which means we have multiple plans. The plan for the area in the Santa Barbara front country is Plan A, is to continue to go direct with our firefighters working right on the fire's edge in conjunction with aerial support. Plan B is, if you've noticed, as the days have progressed, the fire has progressed about a half mile to a mile to the west each evening or each day. But it's been doing it in a slow way that has allowed us to be able to construct fire line along the bottom edge and keep the community safe. That's Plan B. But we also need to have a Plan C, and we're doing this to be proactive rather than reactive. And we are discussing this with the community because it's a plan that, quite frankly, scares a lot of people at times, because if it's not well communicated, they think it's the fire doing something and it's not us. Plan C is a large firing operation that would be designed for us to burn off the vegetation in the area in and around those communities under our terms, under the weather conditions in which we want to see the fire in there, not with the fire running at us. I do want to emphasize this is Plan C. Plan A, direct. Plan B, let it slowly march along till we can get it. And then Plan C would be the firing operation. It's well coordinated if we do it. We've had numerous subject matter experts put the plan together. It's been vetted at all levels. All the local authorities have looked at it and have approved it. If we initiate that firing operation, we will do everything we can to get the public notification out so no one is going to be worried when they see smoke building in the air. Thank you.
Good evening. Rich Thompson, Incident Meteorologist with the National Weather Service. First off, the red flag warning. The red flag warning remains in effect until 10 a.m. Friday morning for the fire area, which is in Ventura County. So we have red flag warning in effect until 10 a.m. Friday morning for all of Ventura County. Forecast-wise for the fire, basically tonight and tomorrow we look for a strengthening Santa Ana wind across the fire. So by tomorrow morning, the Ventura County area could see wind gusts anywhere between 30 and 40 miles per hour, with the strongest winds occurring in the mountain areas and along the 126 corridor through Fillmore, Piru, Santa Paula area. For Santa Barbara County, the Santa Ana winds are going to have less of an influence upon that area. So the winds in Santa Barbara County tonight, tomorrow morning, are generally be north to northeast, probably gusting around maybe 15 to 20 miles per hour tomorrow morning. But then, since it's weak Santa Ana, by tomorrow afternoon, those winds are going to shift around to the opposite direction, kind of a southwest southerly direction in the afternoon. But then by tomorrow evening, the winds switch back again to the northeast direction, and we have the continuation of the Santa Ana winds Thursday night into Friday morning. With those winds we are experiencing, we have still relative humidities in the single digits and little, if any, recoveries at night, so that makes a recipe for widespread and long-term, long-duration critical fire weather conditions, hence the red flag warning remaining in effect until 10 a.m. Friday.
My name is Tim Chavez. I serve as the Fire Behavior Analyst for Incident Management Team 4. You were actually able to see the fire today. That was unique and different. The last few days it's been pretty smoked in. Chief Brown referred to us being a benefit to be able to use aircraft. But what it indicates to me is the lack of wind and also the lack of fire activity that produces that smoke. The fire's really gradually growing in 3 areas: along the Santa Ynez Ridge above Santa Barbara, in the Matilaha Wilderness to the north, and very slowly in the east in the Sespe drainage. All of that movement is topography driven. In other words, the fire gets to the bottom of a slope and then runs up that slope and then pauses again, and that sequence of events continues to happen in the back country, on the front country, and in the Sespe drainage.
Good evening, Todd Durham, Incident Commander for Team 4 and one of the unified commanders to the incident tonight. I just have a few more updates for you as far as some of the numbers go. Our current acreage is just over 238,000 acres at 30% contained. Most of the other numbers have already been referred to with a number of people here. One that has not has been our cost to date is just under $69 million. And for our damage inspection and process that I continue to mention each night, and that is the numbers that we report are the ones that have been validated. And what that means is the inspectors have gone out when it's safe to do so and validate the type of structure, the extent of damage, and ownership. We recognize that the public and the communities are seeing other numbers of structures out there. We welcome you to share that information with us. We understand that this is an ongoing process just as the fire has continued. So the numbers, once again, that I share with you are the ones that have been validated, and we welcome information that the public may have that they can share with local authorities. In the city of Ventura, total number of structures damaged 140, number destroyed 527. In the unincorporated areas of Ventura County, number of structures damaged 59, destroyed 394. In Santa Barbara County, to date, damaged 3, destroyed 9. And again, we encourage the input from the community. We want to make sure at the end of this incident that we have an inclusive list of all those structures that have been destroyed and damaged to assist with the recovery of your communities. As mentioned, the good air of the day, we still have a number of air tankers of 5 Type 1 air tankers, and still have 2 from the United States or from the California National Guard, the MAFs, and they will continue to be here along with the nearly 25, almost 30 helicopters that we're flying on the fire. Thank you very much.
I will now open it up for questions.
Cell towers damaged in the fire?
I don't have that information, but I can get it to you.
So fire in operation, I've heard people talk about how this has been something that the community, some members of the community have resisted in the past. Clearly we have different conditions here. Where would we see a fire in operation like that specifically, do you have in mind?
I'll address your statement about the community first. That was why we had the community meeting. So that we can front load the information about the fire in operation, and we can clearly articulate the need for the fire in operation, and that it is a proactive approach for us to be able to fight that fire under our terms rather than Mother Nature's terms. The specific area that we would be looking at is using the Hesacita and the T fires to our benefit along the Camino Cielo ridgeline. And we would be using existing fuel breaks that have been produced from the community, Los Padres National Forest, and also the defensible space that responsible homeowners have done. We'll be connecting the defensible space to fuel breaks, constructing some of our own line. All of that line will be plumbed with hose, so we'll have firefighters with hose on that line at the same time. And it would be working from the Camino Cielo Ridge down to Gibraltar Road, through the Hastacita Fire, through the T Fire, and then across the backs of the homes, bringing it back to the fire's edge.
So about how much in acreage would that operation occupy?
It could be between 3,000 to 4,000 acres. Again, we would be doing this only as Plan C. We don't forecast that tonight, and it would be with community notification.
At what point does that Plan C become, I mean, like, is there a red line that you say, okay, we're going to go ahead and move with Plan C in this?
It's a subjective line. It'll be based on the subject matter expertise of the members that are directly on the fire line. It will be looking at the terrain and the forecast of the weather. And if that, as that fire marches to the west along that terrain, and we have indications that that weather event is going to materialize, and we have no good locations along that slope to go direct, that'll be what will make us push us to the point of Plan C.
Chief, the National Weather Service has talked about possible sundowners on Friday night, possibly Santa Ana's, with 40 to 45 mile-an-hour gusts on Saturday. Are those the conditions you're talking about that might bring in a Plan C?
Those are the conditions that if we are unable to find a good point to hold it prior to those conditions, that's when Plan C would come into effect, and that's why I call it proactive. We would put that plan in effect before that really bad weather comes into effect, so that that fire will be, the vegetation will be removed before the fire has a chance to take it out in the way it wants to take it out.
Do you have certain benchmarks you want to reach in the next 24 or 48 hours to basically make sure that doesn't have to happen?
The benchmarks is to continue the direct line construction. We have firefighters on the line right now, and the benchmark is to hold it where it's at.
One of the other things that I've heard from people out in the field is how remarkable it is that you've got crews from, say, like Utah, that are able to mesh with crews from LA County, with crews from Ventura County. Can you just kind of explain how it is that these guys are able to just mesh together the way that we've seen here?
A shared purpose, in my opinion. Those of us who've joined the fire service, I call it, or I've heard it called, and I agree with this, a servant's heart. And with that shared purpose, we come together and we do what we can to save a community.
Before we close this evening, I'd like to make one final announcement for the Spanish-speaking audience. We will continue to broadcast daily at 9:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. daily via the Ventura County Fire Department Facebook and Twitter pages, daily updates on the status of the fire. Thank you again.
We actually